Sorry to keep you waiting.
Number two.
On to number two. My number two is the claw shot. Something that's always been fun about Zelda has been launching yourself from place to place with a hook shot. And even though it's technically not the same item, I've got to say my number two is the claw shot. First and foremost, it just makes a little bit more sense being a claw that can grab things and all. But really what pushes it up to the top for me is the double claw shot. I mean, you could hang on walls, man. You were Spider-Man. That
Spiderling.
and
Spiderling.
just like Matt loved the boss battle with Star-Lord, I absolutely love the boss battle with Argarok. It's one of the most fun boss fights in my Zelda memory.
Not as fun as Star-Lord, but it is pretty fun.
Speaking of Star-Lord, my number two is the spinner. It's ridiculous. That's, I think, the weirdest Zelda item by a wide margin, and that's why I absolutely love it. It made for, as Matt already said, it made for one of the best Zelda bosses in a long, long time. Basically, Link rides around on this contraption. Matt already pretty much covered it, but he can attach to the dungeon's pre-installed spinner tracks, which is very convenient. I especially love the spinner because when it dawns on you that you can use it to ride on those conspicuous tracks you've been seeing up until then, this whole new world opens up to you, and you get to go and find all those tracks again. I mean, that whole idea is what Zelda items should be about, period. And it's a very Miyamoto concept of game design. And I just love the spinner.
Link spinner. Let it rip. All right. That's
No, don't even.
too late. That's a good pick, Ricky. That's a fine pick. But my pick for number two is actually Ricky's number three. And it is...
Switching it up on ya.
Coincidentally.
Yeah. Oddly enough, it's the hero's bow. It may seem like I'm taking the easy way out with this one, but really is there any denying the awesomeness that is the bow and arrow? Apart from the sword and shield, like Ricky already covered, it's perhaps the most iconic weapon in the series and is a hell of a lot of fun to use. Shooting down enemies and solving puzzles is a joy with the arrows, and the added effects of the fire, ice, and light arrows make everything better. It just wouldn't be Zelda without the hero's bow. Plus, without the light arrows, how could you take down Xanon? How could you take down Xanon, guys? Come on, that's Xanon game.
I can't wait to play Kirby's Epic Nard so I can take down Xanon.
How else would you take down Ganon but without the light arrows? Let that sink in for a while. Go on, let it sink in. And don't make fun of me for saying Xanon.
Too late.
Xanon.
Number one.
All right, for my number one pick, the moment you've all been waiting for. Well, the first of the three moments.
It's
You gotta
Gutsman. Dun-dun.
You guys made a lot of points in your Kirby video about how much fun it was to smash stuff with yo-yos and fists and whatever. And that's number one for me. I'm splitting it between two items of the same nomenclature. I've got the Megaton Hammer from Ocarina of Time and the Skull Hammer from Wind Waker. It's not just the fact that you're smashing foes using a gigantic hammer, which is big, but it's finding out that you can use it just like the sword. I mean, you got the Megaton Hammer, and you can use a jump attack with it. Or the Skull Hammer, which is twice your size, and figuring out how to do a spin attack. It's so much fun. Not to mention, it's the weapon of choice when you're fighting the Helmarok King, the boss you've wanted to beat the living crap out of ever since you left Outset. And the Megaton Hammer is also the weapon of choice for defeating Ganon when you lose the Master Sword. Unless you've got the Bigoron Sword, but really, hammer time!
Yeah, who uses the big Goron sword?
I don't know what's wrong with me for not putting the hammers anywhere in my top five.
It's cool,
but,
we got you covered.
yeah. My number one. Yeah, right. Like I'm gonna give it to anything else. The hook shot and the claw shot by extension are just the greatest Zelda item ever. Don't listen to anybody else. I mean, you're ripping around dungeons, picking up Skulltula tokens from afar, even grabbing onto the back of a dragon, Shadow of the Colossus style. They're the most iconic Zelda weapons and items anywhere. They've appeared in pretty much every Zelda game since A Link to the Past. I mean, the claw shot barely wins it in my book because you get two of them, and everybody knows that being able to latch on to a second target while you're still hanging from the first one is the only way to travel as far as I'm concerned. And
I thought you were going to say the simple two is better than one.
Well, it is, obviously, but I mean, it's one of the best experiences in any Zelda game, and it's absolutely the best item.
Yeah, well, 2 is the loneliest number since the number 1, and my number 1 pick is also the hook shot, which is without a doubt the best weapon in Link's arsenal. just being able to latch onto walls and ledges to get from place to place makes dungeon crawling that much more fun. It's also fun to attack enemies and snag items that are just out of Link's reach. Plus, you can, save yourself in Super Smash Bros. How many other characters can do that other than Samus? Just saying. While verbal typos today.
The Ice Climbers can.
Use the Clow shot
Olimar.
when you're fighting Xanon. While
Venusaur. Sorry.
Just saying.
I'm not doing this anymore. While the claw shot may seem cooler because it's got 2 claws, ooh, the hook shot will forever be the more iconic of the two, and will always hold that special place in my heart container as the best Zelda item.
None of us said the long shot.
Who cares?
Oh yeah, we're morons.
Because there's really no difference.
My favorite Zelda item is the big wallet.
No, man, it's Eyeball Frog. Eyeball Frog.
That hat that lets me talk to chickens.
What about the Great Fairy Mask?
That's my favorite.
Turn Link into a transvestite.
Anyways, we hope you all enjoyed this list as much as we did. Actually, you probably enjoyed a lot more than we did.
I don't know.
Hopefully we'll be back. Hopefully we'll be back to compare it to the new Zelda items for Skyward Sword, the Beetle, and the Whip.
And maybe other new items that we don't know about
And
yet.
maybe the spinner.
I know I made the
crossing my fingers.
I know I made the comparison that those items are basically the boomerang split in half, but this is a great place to just say it again.
That is. It is. And we're going to end it on that note. Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Have fun beating Xanon.